Today's social media segment is brought to you by Alford and Associates for all of your insurance needs. CIS, Cardiovascular Institute of the South, the highest quality cardiovascular care available. Barker Honda, the Barker family tradition of quality.
There are trucks, and then there's the GMC Sierra, available with the connected driving experience and the world's first 6-function multi-pro tailgate. GMC Sierra. It's the truck. Or get $3,500 purchase cash on select GMC Sierra models. Or get a total of $6,000 purchase allowance when you trade in an eligible vehicle. See your local GMC dealer.
Hello and welcome back to this edition of Bayou Time. Again, your host, Keith Weissite, licensed clinical social worker with Terrebonne Home Care. Very glad you're joining us. However you may be joining us, we appreciate it very, very much. And we're always glad to bring you updates, let you know some of the things happening in our community. The best way to do that through law enforcement is to check in with Captain Brendan Mathern, Lafourche Parish Sheriff's Office. Hi, Brendan. How are you today?
Hey, Keith. I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing very well. Thank you. Look, man, I got to tell you, I love the different programs that you guys come up with and some of these campaigns. And this Click It or Ticket is one of those great ones that is very important because we let people know why we need to be able to do that. Let's talk about that seatbelt checkpoint for people.
Yeah, we're right in the midst of our Click It or Ticket campaign along with all the other agencies around the area. That is going through June 2nd, going to last through the Memorial Day weekend, obviously. And to that end, that's what we'll be doing. We'll be out there this Sunday evening conducting some checkpoints, obviously in conjunction with the Click It or Ticket campaign. We are going to conduct an occupant safety checkpoint, better known as a seatbelt checkpoint, where we are going to essentially set up cones and deputies along the highway. And Keith, it's important to note during these checkpoints, when you come up to a checkpoint, you should slow down and then sort of obey what the deputies are telling you. We don't expect people to know the difference between the checkpoints, but ultimately, unless you have a deputy flagging you down or telling you to stop, you can just kind of drive slowly through these checkpoints. So we're going to start with our seatbelt checkpoint on Sunday evening. And again, the deputies will just kind of be watching cars as they pass very slowly, just making sure that everyone is buckled in, that children are buckled in the right seats, that everyone's in that everyone's in the proper restraints. Now, obviously, as cars are passing through, we'll also be checking motor vehicle inspection stickers, as well as license plate registration, things of that nature. If anything is off or we need to conduct a further investigation, we will ultimately stop a car, ask them to pull off to the side, and then we'll conduct our investigation from there. Now, in addition to the seatbelt checkpoint, we have an impaired driving checkpoint, otherwise known as a DWI checkpoint, and that will happen pretty much immediately after the seatbelt checkpoint. So it's entirely possible if you have plans on Sunday night that you may pass one time heading out through a seatbelt checkpoint where you don't have to stop, and then you may be heading home through a DWI checkpoint where you will be asked to stop by the deputies. They will actually tell you to stop, and they're going to make contact with you, talk with you, and ask if you've been having anything to drink. If we notice any signs of impairment during the checkpoint, we will, again, like the seatbelt checkpoint, we'll ask you to pull to the side, or we will pull the car to the side for you and conduct our investigation, which could include a field sobriety test. Now, during that DWI checkpoint, we'll be looking for all the same things as well: seatbelt usage, MVI stickers, as well as registration. So it's important to note that essentially, as soon as you pass through that checkpoint, once we ask you to pull off to the side, it essentially becomes a traffic stop. So anything that would be okay for us to check, like insurance and things of that nature on a traffic stop, license, driver's license, registration, all of that stuff is something that we'll check for. So that's generally what we're going to be doing. And again, that's happening Sunday night. But like we've said before, Keith, Even if you avoid the checkpoint, we still have deputies out. We have saturated our patrols throughout the weekend, including Sunday night during the checkpoint. So even if you avoid the checkpoint, if you're driving impaired, chances are one of our deputies is going to find that behavior and pull you over.
Right. And again, it leads right into the importance of being aware and being really smart about making sure that this Memorial Day, a lot of people are off on Monday. A lot of people are getting together on the Sundays. Like you mentioned, it's a great time to have both of those checkpoints. Like you said, seatbelt first and then the DWI checkpoint thereafter. Again, just make a good plan. Nobody has to be at risk for any of those problems. We need to make sure that we're in the right seatbelt. Right. We need to make sure kids are in the right child seats and they're put in the car seat correctly. You know, lots of options to get that done ahead of time and make a good plan for you and your family this Memorial Day.
No question. And look, like you said, making a plan is key. When it comes to impaired driving, no one should plan to drink, to have any amount of drinks and then drive. If you're planning to drink, you need to have a plan to get home safely with someone that has not been drinking or does not plan to drink. And like you said, it's as simple as making a plan. If you leave home without a plan, you're going to get in a situation where you're going to make a bad decision, and it could very well end up costing you a lot. We all know the costs involved, not just with the criminal charges that a DWI brings, but the court costs and all of the costs involved with insurance and everything that like that. So again, it is just a horrible decision to make. There is just so many other options that you can do. Staying home or having an event or a gathering at your home is a way to avoid driving drunk. Ultimately, making sure that your guests get where they need to get. If you are doing that, look, take the keys. There's nothing wrong with that. Somebody might be upset with you for a night, especially if they've had too much to drink, but ultimately the next day they'll thank you for making sure that you didn't cost them their life and you saved them from making a bad decision, potentially costing the life of another. With Uber, with Lyft, and again, sometimes those options aren't the best options, especially in our area, but we all have friends that we can call on if we need. The bottom line is, don't wait to make that decision after you've had too much to drink. At that point, your decision-making skills are not at their best. Make those decisions and plans before you ever leave the house, before you ever have that first drink, and then you don't have to worry about what's going to happen later. Again, if you're leaving the house and you have no plan to get home except you're going to be drinking and hope that time or whatever's going to help, that's never a good plan. Ultimately, if you're going to have even one drink, have a plan that doesn't involve you driving.
I appreciate all of the updates, especially good recommendations. Captain Brennan, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Keith.
All right, guys. And that will do it for this particular segment. Don't go anywhere. A lot more Bayou time when we continue.